Hello, everyone, and welcome back once again to the High School Sports Beat. I'm Dave Yates. It is time now for the High School Notebook, and that means it is time for Matt Trabold. Matt, thanks once again for joining us on board.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, let's talk about some interesting situations never before possible for some of these athletes. Football players can now play soccer if they want to. How's that working out for some guys?
So the first couple weeks of sports returning to Section 5 through those 2020 Fall 1 sports and those risk categories has been such a positive thing. But, like you mentioned a second ago, there is one in particular we're going to talk about now, that fall sport of football, still not permitted in New York State due to the pandemic. That is now coming around in the spring. But along those lines, I've noticed a few Section 5 football players on soccer rosters currently for their schools. Wayne's Mason Blankenberg started as a sophomore starting quarterback for the Eagles last year, including winning Section 5 Class B Offensive Player of the Week one week. He is now one of their soccer goalies. Spencerport's Khalize Beamon is now a senior soccer player after being a notable running back as a junior there, including a 79-yard touchdown run in an upset win over Victor. Plus, Honey Falls Lima quarterback / wide receiver Reese Joint is currently on the Cougs soccer team. Best of luck to those guys in the fall right now, and also when spring comes around. It's very interesting, like you said at the start of this. This is not something that we are used to seeing happen. It's just such a new concept, maybe not just for this state, but really just as high school sports kind of as a whole in this country. I think it's super, super interesting, and very curious to see through the season the versatility. Obviously very versatile talents coming from these three players and some other guys in the section making this kind of move. It's going to be very interesting to see.
You know, we have a really high European viewership, so they're probably confused right now when we say football players playing soccer. It's like, wait, football is football, so what's the difference? You know, now what about going the other way? How about some of these soccer players? If you're a football coach, hey, I need a kicker. Soccer season's not going on. Is that you see that as a possibility?
Absolutely. It almost makes too much sense, especially with it being such a rare case where that is actually available for these schools. And Reese Joint from HFL that I mentioned a second ago, he's a guy that it really made sense that there's going to be this crossover and possibly crossover again coming the spring, just because this is seasons past. He was kicking extra points. He was doing a lot of kicking there for the Cougs on the football side of things. I hope, and I think it'd be very interesting if it happens with a bunch of different schools, a bunch of different programs here in the spring.
Now, you mentioned Spencerport already in that first segment. Let's talk about the Rangers and their boys right now.
So simply put, Spencerport knows soccer. The last few years, the boys program has risen closer to the clout level of success of the girls program for the Rangers. Spencerport boys soccer lost a good amount of talent from their successful club a year ago with the graduations of star goalie Jaden Schlurf, as well as Max LaRosa, Greg Ranieri, and Franz Walutska. But underclassmen scoring stud on top of that as far as talent going away from that big-time team. A year ago, Jacob Lenhard left for the Orlando City SC MLS Academy, so obviously a huge talent there gone. But even after all that, their talent level is still so high right now. At defense there, sweeper Pat Uebelacker is again one of the top few defenders in Section 5, a powerful and reliable 6'5", with plenty of touch as well. His goal kicks appear to go 60, 70, 80 yards. He comes up for free kicks. Even though he's that sweeper type, I think from free kicks, I think he's going to have some goals this year. Plus, big in there for the corner kicks. Get a noggin on it. Another captain for the Rangers in Sujan Rajamohan. It's a little bit more offensively minded now as a listed defender than in years past, where he had to really focus his talents more on the defensive side of things with the personnel that the Rangers had. And I think he's a little bit more offensive minded, offensive skilled maybe, than his defensive older brother. Very impressive there. He was there a couple years ago for the Rangers. He ended up at Division I St. Francis, PA, and is now at Damon College. In that, David Schmidt recorded a clean sheet in his varsity debut versus a solid Irondequoit team, plus Vince Ranieri, younger brother of Greg Ranieri that I mentioned a second ago. He'll get a number of goals this year as a senior. So really just talent. A lot of talent leaves, but still a lot of talent there. That's just Spencerport soccer.
And I remember doing a story on them last year, and it's not just the high school soccer, but they've got that youth program so in tune with the program for the Rangers that it's that feeder system, and it's no time soon is it going to slow down, I'm sure. So, hey, Matt, as always, great stuff, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
We're back with more High School Sports Beat right after this.